Good evening. This is a public meeting of the Lowell Zoning Board of Appeals for January 9th, 2017. And before we get started, two items. If you have an electronic device, could you please turn it off? And second of all, if you plan on speaking on behalf of a petition, either for or against, before addressing the board, if you could sign in at the podium. First order of business is under new business, is ZB 2017-1, the petition's variance. The applicant is Stephen Calero. Property located at 115 Chelmsford Street. The petition, the proposed project consists of constructing a second means of egress that encroaches on the side yard setback. The project is located in the neighborhood business zoning district and requires variance approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals under Section 5.1 dimensional requirements of the Lowell zoning ordinance and any other relief that is required. We have received a communication from the applicant, and they are respectfully requesting a continuance to the January 23rd, 2017 meeting. So with that, could I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion on ZB-2017-1, a variance. The applicant is Stephen Calero. The property located at 115 Chelmsford Street, and the petition, the proposed project consists of constructing a second means of egress that encroaches on the side yard setback. The project is located in the neighborhood business zoning district and requires variance approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals under Section 5.1 dimensional requirements of the Lowell zoning ordinance and any other relief that is required. The motion to continue to January 23rd.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman Bailey,
Continue to January 23rd.
Member McCarthy,
Continue.
Member Paglia,
Continue to January 23rd.
Member Peck,
Continue.
Member Callahan,
Continue to January 23rd.
and Member Peters.
Continue to January 23rd.
Okay, we're going to take the agenda slightly out of order. Next order of business will be ZB 2017-5 special permit. The applicant is GPG Varnum LLC. Property located at 557 Varnum Avenue. The petition, the proposal consists of a change in use from nursing home to multifamily residential with 18 units, with 31 parking spaces and any other relief required. The proposed project is located in the suburban single-family zoning district and requires special permit approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals under Section 4.52, non-conforming uses of the Lowell zoning ordinance and any other requirements. Attorney Geary, as you know, we've received some communication from the law department, and so with that, do you have any comments?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. For the record, again, my name is Attorney Stephen Geary, and I represent GPG in this petition related to Varnum Ave. And we did receive the same correspondence that the board received late this afternoon. As a result of that, my client is seeking a continuance of this matter for 30 days. I think we were told the next meeting in that time frame is on February 13th, if that's acceptable to the board.
Okay, that's acceptable. So could I have a motion for a continuance to February 13th, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, the matter before us, ZB-2017-5, special permit. The applicant is GPG Varnum LLC. The property located at 557 Varnum Ave. The motion is to continue to the February 13th meeting.
Could I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman Bailey,
Continue to February 13th.
Member McCarthy,
Continue to February 13th.
Member Paglia,
Continue to February 13th.
Member Peck,
Continue.
Member Callahan,
Continue to February 13th.
Member Peters.
Continue to February 13th.
Okay, Mr. Geary?
And Mr. Chairman, I will submit that request in writing as well for the record.
Great.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
Have a
members.
good evening. Okay, our next matter before us is ZB 2017-2. The petition's a variance. The applicant is Christine Burke, property located at 161 Woburn Street. The petitioner is seeking relief for a second driveway that exceeds the maximum curb cut width and a variance for the number of parking spaces provided. The project is located in the traditional two-family zoning district and requires variance approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals under Section 6.1 off-street parking requirements of the Lowell zoning ordinance. Good evening, how are you?
Good evening. Hi. I've never done this before.
Take your time, don't rush.
I had been parking in my side yard for, since I've owned it. We had gravel there, and I just thought it was gonna make the neighborhood look better if I paved it, and then I didn't realize you needed a permit. So
Okay.
I'm asking for relief.
Yeah. Okay, so did somebody from the city,
We got a letter in the mail. yeah.
okay, yeah,
So I came down right away and
Yep.
and did everything I think I'm supposed to do.
okay. So, before the parking, you have parking already at the residence for 2 parking spots, correct?
Correct.
That you currently have been using?
Yes, and we had 2 already paved, and we had a side yard that we were parking on, but it was not paved.
Yep.
prior.
And as far as when you had the second driveway put in or parking area, how was it determined, the size of the lot for that parking area? How was that
did I-
determined?
When I just was like, okay, my 2 kids are gonna have cars soon, I wanted it enough so
Yep.
that we could all get in without having to move everyone's car, honestly. That, I really
No.
didn't put any more thought into it than that.
And it fits 3 cars?
3 cars wide, and you can actually fit maybe 2 more other than that, but, like if you squeezed them in, if visitors came over, but
Yeah,
it fits 3 wide. It's, I have,
right.
you probably have a copy as well, but.
Yeah, we received in the package
Okay.
a couple of, it looks like you had a stamp, a stamp drawing, or somebody stamped. I couldn't tell who did the stamping. Is that, Judy, do you know who did the, it was stamped, right? The plans here?
No, this was,
Well, there's a
was not
stamp on one of these for Woburn Street.
Oh, probably the original? Yeah,
I don't-
that's the one with I have 2 lots.
That's the original? Okay. That's why I couldn't understand. I saw the stamp. All right.
There's 2 separate lots?
Yeah.
And that's, all right, so that's,
Yeah, so
you
we
got that-
have this drawing here,
Yes,
or this rendition, and we also have some pictures, and I'm sure some of the members have been out there, so. And pretty much you had also shown kind of the before and after, before the paving and then after the paving, is that,
yes, the engineer department actually printed those from
Yep.
here.
okay. All right, anything else you'd like to add at this point?
No,
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to open it up to the public,
Okay.
and then we'll move it to the board. All right, thank you. Anyone here like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone here that like to speak in opposition? Opposition, hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. I'd like to open it up to the board. Jim?
How does this all work out? You're going to fit 3 cars in it?
yes, so I can actually have a total of 5 cars parked, because I already had originally 2 spots paved, and then this new driveway allows 3 additional spots.
So you paved it, but you found out that you had to,
I didn't know we needed a permit.
Oh,
I knew
okay,
you
well.
needed a permit for additions and windows, and I had no idea about paving. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, no, that's all I have to ask.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just got a couple questions. I know you just previously mentioned, so you have your driveway on the left-hand side, and then this additional driveway that has 3 cars, and you mentioned you have children, that you'd probably be using the driveway as well. Is that
Yes.
the intention?
Yes.
So this is a two-family residence?
It is.
Do you have any tenants that live in?
Oh, currently I don't. So it is a 2-family. We're kind of using the whole house right now.
Okay.
But if I ever do decide to rent out, it is also additional parking that my tenants would be off-street parking.
Oh, yeah. No, that was my, that was what I was wondering, whether you have have any tenants there presently, or you intend to
Yes.
later on? Because then you're going to have a
In
a
the
lot of-
future, I plan to have tenants again,
Okay.
but right now, no.
But yeah, I mean, it's just because obviously we don't want to turn this into a situation, if you have tenants, but you got your children there, then you got the tenants that
Oh.
got to park, and you got, then more
No,
and
then it's a
more
bigger
cars
issue.
parking in.
I
at some
understand
point.
completely.
But that was just kind of my only thing. Otherwise, it seems to me it's been done pretty well. Westford Street's a very major street, so
It's-
parking on the street is pretty
Especially
much
in the winter.
non-existent, I guess, you would say, because I believe that's still a state highway, if I'm not mistaken. But otherwise, I think, understanding the layout and everything, and there being, I've seen no objections from the public, I think it's
Well,
a okay project, and I wish you the best of luck, so,
Oh,
thank you.
is that
Thanks, Sean. Van?
thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chairman,
curb cut?
this, to me, it's straightforward, it makes sense. There's plenty of space or land to accommodate another driveway spot for this petition. And like Mr. Callahan said, there's no neighbors in opposition, so, I think it'll fit in with the neighborhood. So overall, I think I can approve this petition, so best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Van. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any issues with the approving the driveway after it's been built. The driveway ordinance probably went in about 8 years ago, and it was designed to keep people from paving, let's say, their entire yard and sort of turning a yard into a parking area. And obviously, you haven't done that. You just took as much as you needed by the curb. So, was there a house there before, or on
No,
that
it's
on that
always
lot?
been a lot.
It's always been a vacant lot. Oh, so you have like a double.
It's nice, we
Double
got a
lot.
good-sized yard, so
Yeah.
it's nice grassy area, actually.
Yeah, so I don't have any issues with the, with approving this. I guess just bear in mind if, like Sean was saying earlier, if you decide to expand or there's, too many tenants in the home, to come see us first before you continue to pave into the backyard.
Absolutely. I know the rule now.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Dennis?
Through Mr. Chairman, I just have a couple of questions, but I went by the property, and it looks like a very nicely maintained home, so I want to commend you on taking care of your property very well.
Thank you.
It looks like it's a separate house lot, so you could potentially build a house on that lot at some point, but there's no real plan for that at the moment?
There isn't, I would have to apply because it's
Yep.
too small of a lot if I were to do something like that. It's only 5,000 square feet.
Okay. And I noticed that the gravel on Google Earth, the driveway it looks like you just removed a section of fence, and that's probably how you got to the 22 feet because you didn't take the full 30 feet, you only took 22 feet for your drive.
Yeah, we just took
curb
out
cut,
one
yeah.
section, just,
Did you have to modify any curbs? There were no curbs along that side?
no, there was no curbs. We didn't touch
Right.
anything on the sidewalk.
Therein lies even more of the confusion, I think, Judy. There's no curbs along that side, so it's really kind of one of those things, you don't really have a clue that you have to come before the city for a permit to go to pave more than you're supposed to. I just don't like the idea of after the fact, so.
I know, I feel off. I don't know what to do.
In addition to that, I noticed that on that street, the previous, of the 6 previous properties, there's 5 of them with curb cuts that are in excess of 22 feet. So you kind of fit in with the neighborhood, which are all kind of enjoying more than the 15 feet. So I understand your confusion, but I just would like to see us make a bigger effort to notify people in the city that if you want to put a paved driveway and you have to go by the zoning bylaws. But I understand, and I really don't have any problem with this going forward, so
Thank
thank you.
you.
Sidewalk, a concrete sidewalk.
Thank you, Dennis. So Judy, can I just ask a quick question?
Sure.
So the reason, well, there's 2 reasons. A, driveway was put in without basically a permit being pulled, is that correct?
Right.
And then second of all, to Dennis's point regarding the curb cut, the size of the curb cut determined, the city comment said they needed at least 4 spaces because of the size of the curb cut.
Yes, an additional curb cut. This is an additional curb cut on the property, so they already have a curb cut. So when you create a second curb cut, you need an additional 2 spaces. So it's two
So if there's
family.
no curbs, is it really a curb cut? I'm just asking.
I mean, I have not been to the site. I mean, just looking at the photograph, I'd be surprised if there wasn't curb there. I mean, it could be sunken curb.
Yep. Yeah, okay.
It's probably sunken curb. I mean, there's a concrete sidewalk there, and with a concrete sidewalk on a major street, there usually is granite curb. So it's probably sunken curb, and so the opening itself is wider than what's allowed, the opening that's going to be used. So I guess to be complete, it's the variance for, one space that they're lacking, and the variance for the width of the curb cut, which is 15 in this zoning district, and it's
22, right?
22.
Well, I don't see what the board can, what's there is there, how it happened. I mean, it was explained by the petitioner. Being one short, I think all the board members are well aware, as many cars we can get off the street, so at least something was done, whether it was intentional or not. I mean, the petitioner said it was unintentional, but at least another parking area was created to get cars off the street, which is always important, especially with a two-family. So I guess currently they would have 5 parking spots. They would only need 4 if they had the correct size second parking area. If they had the correct size, then they would have had 2 there or 3, right? If they had the 15 feet, which was the
They would-
requirement,
Right, they would still need the 4 spaces,
why is that if they already got
because
2?
it's a second curb cut.
Okay, so 2 curb cuts for one.
Yes, the second curb
property.
cut requires 2 additional
So maybe
spaces.
you'll have to tell me 35 times. Okay,
So 2 spaces per unit plus the 2
Yep.
additional for
Okay.
the second curb cut.
all right. Well, if I look at the variance and what's being asked of us, I mean, obviously you're short 1 space, but I don't. If we look at the public good and the intent of the zoning, I don't see us, by granting the relief of the 1 spot, that this petition will either be undesirable or derogating from the intent of the zoning. So I would vote in favor of it for the variance of the 1 spot. And I think you understand going down the road if,
I do anything, I'll check
yeah,
first.
yeah, okay. We'll remember your name and address, so when you get called next time. Okay. Any other members have any questions or comments? Okay, so there's no conditions that come to mind. If there are no other comments, could I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, the matter before us, ZB-2017-2, a variance. The applicant is Christine Burke. The property located at 161 Woburn Street. The petitioner is seeking relief for a second driveway that exceeds the maximum curb cut width and a variance for a number of parking space provided. The project is located in the traditional 2-family zoning district and requires variance approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals under Article 6.1, off-street parking requirements of the Lowell zoning ordinance.
Okay, could I have a second?
Second motion?
Roll call.
Chairman Bailey?
Approved.
Member McCarthy?
Approved?
Member Paglia?
Approved.
Member Peck?
Approve.
Member Callahan?
Approved.
And Member Peters?
Approved.
Okay, Ms. Burke, been approved.
Thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome.
I'm sorry for
See?
doing things backwards.
It was easy, right? Yeah. Have a good evening. You're welcome. All right, our next order of business is ZB 2017-3, petitions of variance. The applicant is Ken Lim. Property located at 38 Jennifer Road, and the petition, the applicant is seeking approval for reduction of lot frontage and any other approval required under section 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. Good evening, Counselor. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Joseph Claremont, attorney appearing for the applicant Ken Lim, who's the owner of the single-family home at 38 Jennifer Road in Lowell. And Mr. Lim is seeking a variance to maintain his current frontage along Jennifer Road at 20 feet. I had submitted some plans along with my application, and I blew a couple of them up, and I thought it might be a little easier to follow if I may pass them out. Mr. Chairman, the plan that's on the top there, which I marked Exhibit 1 down the bottom, is the original subdivision plan from 1987, which was approved by the Planning Board. And the lot in question is at the bottom of Lot 14, which is 38 Jennifer Road. At the time of the approval of the subdivision plan, the frontage along Jennifer Road is 25 feet. In the abutting lot 13 next to it, the frontage was 29.31. In 1992, an easement plan was recorded, which is the second document in that package, which I've marked Exhibit 2. The easement plan was done primarily to relocate the driveway at Lot 14, and the three lots, Lot 15, Lot 14, and Lot 13, granted easements to each other for the small slivers of land that are noted on that easement plan back from 1992. So at that point, you can see where the driveway, which had gone straight ahead and was 25 feet, was shifted over to the left towards the other lot, and some other slivers of land were transferred by way of easements to each other, which was fine. The easement plan was recorded in 1992. In 1996, however, the owners of those three lots affected by the easement plan conveyed the easement areas to permanently adjust and move the lot lines as shown on the easement plan. Now, the deeds that they recorded in 1996 referenced the 1992 recorded easement plan, and it's been that way for 20 years. Lot 14, when they deeded those little slivers of land, the frontage went from 25 down to 20, and the abutting Lot 15, which had 29.31 feet of frontage, went up to 52.31 frontage. The properties, the three lots have been sold along the way with no issues, but recently, when one of the owners tried to sell their lots, it came up as a potential problem where the easement plan that was recorded was never an approved A&R plan. So it never went before the planning board for approval. So we will be applying for approval of the A&R plan, the 1992 plan as an A&R plan, but since the frontage of Lot 14 was reduced from 25 to 20 feet, we need a variance to maintain it at the 20-foot dimension. Now, if the variance is approved, we will move forward with the application to approve the A&R plan, which will settle the lot line issues once it is recorded. And approval of the variance would maintain the status quo as it has been for over 20 years and would clear this potential title issue for the applicants and the abutters on either side. And we believe, due to the unique shape of these lots, affecting this lot but not generally affecting the zoning district, that a literal enforcement would be a hardship, involve a substantial hardship to the applicants, and that relief can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good. And I respectfully request approval of the variance to maintain it at 20 feet.
So is the property that you're here for this evening, are you saying that's up for sale or going through a sale?
No, actually, the lot next to it was up for
Okay.
sale. Lot 15, but the issue of the lot lines came up when they reviewed the title.
Okay. And did you also mention that you'd be, if you got approval this evening, you'd be going before the planning board for an A&R?
Yes, for the A&R approval.
Okay, so if we conditioned, if we get to that point of the, that could be a condition that we'll have as
Absolutely.
part of this, okay. Okay, in 1996, the easements, which you gave us copies of, so I see it says utility, driveway, utility. So what exactly drove the 96 easement? Who,
Well, the actual easements were 1992. In 1996, they actually deeded those slivers of land that are referenced on the easement plan by way of the deeds that I put in the application. So you'd see a number of deeds among the various owners for those slivers of property. Unfortunately, without approval of the easement plan as an A&R plan, it calls those shifting of lot lines into question.
okay. And I guess the last thing I'll just bring up, you received the comments that came from the city.
I did.
Yep. And do you have any comments at all in regards to the 2 comments that were submitted? Either agreement or disagreement or?
Let me take a look.
Yep.
I think the comments are both accurate.
Okay. All right, good. Anything else you'd like to add at this point?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to open it up to the public. Anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone here that'd like to speak in opposition? Yes, sir.
My wife and I own the 13A.
If you come up to,
Excuse me, yeah.
tell us who you are first, please.
Bruce Johnson.
Yep.
36 Jennifer Road, Lowell.
Okay, sir.
That would be the lot 13A.
Yep.
And we've been in there since 2004. And the frontage that they have has been that way since we've been there.
Sure.
And I was quite surprised to see anything coming up because we never had uncovered any problem when we had purchased or in any of the legal transactions. And then when the neighbor in the 14A lot purchased, nothing came up about it until they were trying to sell the 15A. And we've had, the frontage has been the same since then. So, I mean, I'm in favor of it. I'm not objecting to anything, and I just wanted to say that that's the way it's been since we've been there in 2004.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Anyone else in opposition? Opposition? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. I'd like to open it up to the board. Jim?
The egress, or whatever we want to call it, is supposed to be 20 feet wide, is that?
Yes.
Okay, because I have some knowledge of a 20-foot wide egress in a suburban town, and it can get a little bit difficult during snow times. So what do they do with given what appears to be a relatively active winter so far, what do they do with the snow that's removed from the driveway?
They move it into their yard. If you look back, it's shaped like a funnel, so they'll remove that entire 20-foot egress is their driveway, and they would remove the snow out of their driveway into their yard. And they've been doing that for 20 years.
And do both of well, you said lot 15 is up for sale, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do the people at lot 13 acknowledge that that's how it's been done?
Yeah, I think the gentleman just spoke as Lot 13.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any questions. This appears to be a situation where, there was an intent back in 1992 to, place the lot lines to accommodate all three of these lots, and it appears that even Lot 14A took part of the brunt of it, and bringing the frontage back down 5 feet from 25 to 20, but gaining something on the back end. So I don't have any, this appears to be pretty straightforward. It doesn't appear to be, it does appear that you do have a hardship. A little enforcement of the zoning at this point would make this intention from back in 1992 with the easements moot, and it's not what was intended. So I don't see that there's any issues with this, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Van?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, this application, I think they're just trying to rectify what the plan was in 1997. So to me, they're just trying to just make this up to date and to make things kind of whole again with that whole parcel, that whole lot. So overall, I think it's straightforward. So those are all the comments I have.
Thank you. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was a senior in high school when the first plan was approved, so I don't know why that Lot 14 was ever allowed to be approved that way. But because it is that way and it's been there for 20 years, I think I'm in favor of granting the variance both for your client and the neighbor next door who wants to sell, but also for the gentleman who spoke, because now it will legally, it will be on record that the realignment of the frontage, the easements, and the lot lines is now all legally recorded. So
Thank you. Yeah, and the A&R plan will certify the lot lines for all three lots.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mike. Dennis?
Through Mr. Chairman, I just have a couple of questions, but I think that the realigning of the lot lines makes a lot of sense with the site plan in general, just because the previous approved, or the original lot lines really cut across that lot 13 in an odd way to begin with, which I think makes it difficult. The paved driveway seems to be the entire 20-foot width.
I believe it is.
And so there's a fence for each adjacent lot that's basically on the property line.
Correct.
And Judy, this is prior to the 15-foot dimension requirement for curb cuts, I imagine, so the driveway is not up for discussion, right?
Right, because it was approved as
Yep.
part of a subdivision. And I didn't actually do the research to see what the dimensional requirements were back then, than to note that the requirement was not 90 feet, because you don't have 90 feet on lot 15. I believe the requirement was 70 at the time.
75, I believe.
75. So lot 15 still, with this change, with moving the lot lines over, still has 75
Yes.
feet.
Okay. Okay, so everything's pretty much in order then if we approve this reduction from 25 to 20. There's nothing else that's sitting out there, right?
Right, there's nothing else that needs to be
Yep.
remedied.
Okay. I think it makes a lot of sense. I kind of wish it was wider, but I don't see how we would do that well. And I think that because it's been this way and it seems like there's no opposition, that it makes a lot of sense. So wish you all the luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Okay, well, I agree with Attorney Claremont's reasons for the variance and also the hardship that was mentioned if the board was not to honor or approve the variance that's being requested. As the other members have said, it sounds like there's a historical issue here that, based on Attorney Claremont's accepting of the condition of going before the planning board to get an approved A&R, that should clear up. And also, Mr. Johnson, that came this evening, he he made his comments that, what his feelings were towards the request, and he's not in opposition. So without hearing other, so we have one condition, and that would be the petitioner to apply for an A&R with the Lowell Planning Board at a future date. That'll be the condition. So if I have no other comments, could I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, the matter before us, ZB-2017-3, the petition type of variance, the applicant Ken Lim, the property located at 38 Jennifer Road. The petition, the applicant is seeking approval for reduction of lot frontage, and any approval required under this section 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. The approval with the condition of an approval of an A&R plan from the planning board.
Have a second, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman Bailey,
Approved with conditions.
Member McCarthy,
Approve with condition.
Member Paglia,
Approved with condition.
Member Peck,
Approved conditions.
Member Callahan,
Approve with conditions.
and Member Peters.
Okay, Attorney Claremont, been
Thank
approved.
you very
Wish you
much.
best of luck.
Good evening.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Okay, our next matter before us is ZB 2017-4, petitions a special permit. The applicant is Sun Building LLC. Property is located at 17 County Square. The petition, the applicant is requesting an amendment to the original special permit granted to increase the number of units from 15 to 18. The project is located in the downtown mixed-use zoning district and requires special permit approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals under Section 12.1E of the Lowell zoning ordinance and any other relief that is required. Good evening, Mr. Flood.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, before.
Sure. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for the record, James Flood, 549 Rogers Street, Lowell, representing Sun Building LLC. Also with me tonight is the contractor, John DeAngelis, who will be doing the work. We, like the notice said, we're here to amend the original special permit that was granted by this board back in, I think it was in April of last year. The original approval was for 7 units to be constructed in the front building, which was 15 County Square, and another 17 in the back. Well, 15 County Square, the work has progressed, and as a matter of fact, we've closed on 4. We have 2 under agreement, which only leaves 1 left there. And John has started work on the common areas in the back building. I've given you that plan that was originally approved, and only to point out that when we came in before, the area along Prescott Street, which was the old press room, was to remain open, and there was no proposed construction there. What this new plan does is to provide for 5 live workspaces along that area. The first floor would be workspace, and the second and third floor would be residential units. So by doing that, we're able to use the storefront, the area along Prescott Street. There'll be entrances to each unit, and artists will be able to work there and hopefully bring some business to the city. The remaining space would consist of 12 loft-sized residential units, very similar to what was approved. I know the notice said 18 units, but all we're looking for is 17 in the back. The penthouse is not going to be a separate unit. It's going to be part of a unit on the 4th floor. It's an existing structure on the top, so it'll be by staircase going up, and it'll be just like someplace where they could go and have a living room up there. So really, that's what we're looking for. It's really, I think it's a better plan than what was presented before because we get to use that open space. It will bring people downtown. John has worked with the Historic Commission. There's been some talk about bringing some lights out on the Prescott Street side to show on the outside of the building, which will make it brighter in the evening, because that is really a dark side. So we'd ask that you approve it. I can address those comments if you want now, or we can go over it later.
I'll have you address it now. I just want to be clear, you mentioned about the total number of units for
Yeah.
number 17.
We were counting the penthouse as a separate unit.
So it's 17 units for number 17.
Instead of 18, yeah.
And the penthouse is part of,
It's either going to be part of 405 or 407.
okay. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Flood, if you can run through the section on the specific comments so we can address that now, please, thank you.
As to the specific comments from Planning Department, we do have a new letter from the Parking Department that provides for additional parking for this development. We have submitted revised plans showing the proposed elevator, and I think it's shown on the plans that you got for this project. That was done right after the original hearing. We've submitted revised plans for the trash area, which is also shown on the plans. He has been working with the Historic Board, and he continues to work with the Historic Board. He's met with Steve Stoll on numerous occasions to discuss this project. So any approval would be subject to that again. And no problem with the construction vehicles not allowed to be parked in the 58 Prescott Street access tunnel.
So the construction vehicles is the same thing we
Same thing as
talked
before.
about the first time, and the proposed trash area, we
First
discussed
time.
that, the neighbors were here, we
Right.
had a discussion around that, okay. So
And
really,
those-
nothing has changed on
No.
those two areas since the last one? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There was a question about the grade level of Unit R305. Well, all that is it's part of Unit 305. It's a room at the bottom, the stairs going down. It's not going to be a separate unit. It's tied into the one up above. Basement floor plan for the proposed live workspace. I submitted new plans of the live workspace, and I think that they were probably distributed. They weren't? I submitted them to the planning department, and Christine said she was sending them out.
What was the question? What was the question?
For the 5 new units?
Yeah. There's,
I got them. Did someone say they did?
there was a plan of a live workspace unit. I can pass it around. You got another? Well, I've got we did submit them, and you can look at them.
What was the question?
I mean, I do see I have a copy, so. I have a copy, it was submitted, I don't know, because I think it was part of the plan.
Yeah, I'm all set. I was on, not that I wasn't listening to Mr. Flood.
So these are the. Okay. That's the workspace.
There was no basement on the first underneath, so.
Correct. Yep.
Building height measurements on the elevation or a section view. Well, I don't have those yet, but we will provide them. Penthouse apartment 5 in the 5th story. Well, I think I explained that. That's been there, it exists, and it's going to be part of one of the units down below.
Yep.
And I think that's the question. Those are the questions.
So the fire department, the only issue needing clarification is the egress from the penthouse?
Yep, I think they thought it was a separate unit, but it's not going to be a separate unit now.
Okay,
It's very similar to what he did over on the
yeah.
museum. He has a
Yeah.
penthouse up there, too.
So Judy, as far as this, Mr. Flood is explaining the penthouse, that it's not really its own separate unit. As far as the fire department, I guess I'll just ask, and your department, just let them know. I'm not gonna put a condition or anything in here, but if you
Right,
can-
so typically, yeah, the plans, I mean, these comments from the building department, so the plans are being looked at by the building department, and they usually do keep the fire department in the loop. So if the fire department has any questions, they work that out with,
So that would, so it'd
Oh,
probably
there's no
come about with the building permit or at some point if
Yeah.
they still have a concern. Okay.
so essentially what you're saying is that penthouse unit is not a separate.
Not a separate unit. It's an existing structure on the top of the building. It's going to be part of either 405 or 407. You'll tie it in with a set of stairs.
And so that's where you come up with just 2 additional units rather than 3?
Instead of 3, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Part of, which one, 405
405 or 407. One of
or
them.
407?
407, yeah.
Okay.
And the formal parking agreement, I know you gave us.
Yes, we have a copy.
Yeah, and that
We have-
fulfills the 25 spaces, correct?
Correct.
It's
Yes,
noted
provide
here.
up to 25
Yeah.
spaces at lower locks.
Okay. Just trying to knock out any conditions, that's all. Okay, do you have anything else you want to add, Mr.
Nope.
Flood, regarding to the comments?
Nope.
Okay.
Not at this point.
All right, anything else, Mr. Flood, you'd like
Nope,
to
not at this point, nope.
talk to? Okay. So what I'll do is, we'll open it up to the public, then we'll move to the board. Anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. I'd like to open it up to the board. Jim?
I just have some concern that, how is the construction going to affect Prescott Street?
I was going
How is the construction going to affect Prescott Street?
to, it won't. Everything will come in from the other side. We won't block Prescott Street up at all.
Okay, because Prescott Street is an extremely busy street and,
Very, very busy, correct. We're aware of that.
all right. So the penthouse will be on unit 405?
405 or 407, we haven't made that determination. It'll be a stairway running up. It lines up with both of them.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. And I don't think Jim was part of the first meeting on this project, so it's,
Yeah, it was April.
so his
yeah.
question about Prescott does make sense, but we did cover those issues.
We did?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Regarding construction.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I happened to go by the building on Sunday. I know your client had an open house, scheduled open house that apparently got somewhat canceled because of the snowstorm, but Mr. DeAngelis was there. He actually showed me around the building, and I was very impressed by the progress that's being made. I think he had one unit that was completely ready, and I was just very, very impressed by all the work that was going on there and get an idea of what this is going on, especially with regards to the work and live-in units. That seems to be a very great idea that I think would work, especially be very beneficial to the city, keeping businesses here that maybe look to do work and live-in space and,
It'll bring some life to Prescott Street, too.
yeah.
Bring some life to Prescott, bring
And-
people downtown.
But I was very curious when I saw the petition coming back before us for additional units as to how progress was being made on what we've.
So you saw a completed unit, they came out nice.
It came out very, very nice, and I'm very, very impressed, and I think this will be a very good benefit to the city, especially the new live and work units. I think those will be, if you can get those filled, those will be a very good benefit to the city, and so I think this is a good project. It's going along very, very well, and I wish your client the very best of luck. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Van?
I have no comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I recall the earlier vote, I think the hope with the actual press room was to maybe hold out hope that either another restaurant could go in there or maybe some retail, but probably looked at the numbers for that or the viability and decided against it, or?
Well, this was a new idea that he had, and this kind of really goes with the whole idea of artists in the downtown. And, I mean, there's going to be an entrance on each of those workspaces on Prescott Street. And I think it'll bring people down there instead of a restaurant. I think it'll be nice, be a nice touch.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm in favor of, granting the petition to add a couple more units, but I think I just remember at the time you folks are trying to
Well-
figure out what to do with the press room.
I think there's going to be maybe a restaurant on the other side, next to the canal, on the first floor. That space has been sold, so.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. The more either storefronts or if it's a work unit, sort of a small gallery space there to increase some foot traffic, because not just at night, but during the day, it's kind of an odd section of downtown. There isn't really any reason to walk down there, and so the people that are walking in that area, as we discussed in your initial petition, probably shouldn't be down there because they're in the recycling area, and they're although you've got that closed off now. So,
Yep.
So yeah, I'm in favor of this slight change in the initial permit. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Dennis?
Through Mr. Chairman, I just want to say that I really like the idea of having these entrances right off of Prescott Street for these gallery or live-to-work spaces. I think that'll be almost retail-like. So I think it's a nice in-between kind of element that we're receiving. I just want to understand from the elevations that we're accomplishing 4 floors in this space here. Are we redoing the glazing on that whole wall in order to do that? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
John DeAngelis. As far as the exterior of the front?
Exactly, yep. Is that all new glass on that side wall there?
We're going to be replacing a lot of it, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to put interior glass too, where the bedroom, the loft and the bedroom will have interior glass partitions made. It's mainly for sound.
Sure.
There's a lot of, sometimes you get the guys with the boomers, they go by and you feel the vibration. So we're going to do glass enclosed, leave the exterior glass the way it is, but put glass inside.
So you said leave the exterior glass the way it is, so you're gonna leave that?
We'll reglaze it.
You'll reglaze all of those with new insulated units, and then add these doors in so the first level is all new, but I think just to get the doors to work.
Right, exactly.
And then you have a floor level coming out to meet that height that didn't exist or doesn't exist now.
Right,
It's gonna tie into the curtain wall system that's there.
right,
Okay.
right.
So you're doing a little bit of work on the facade then, but
Yeah.
not a lot, just kind of some reglazing on
Reglazing,
Prescott Street.
right. And repairing.
So you won't be like staging that whole wall while you're doing it. You'll have more of a scissor lift kind of doing the operation for a period of weeks kind of thing?
We can do it from the interior, but anything on the exterior will have an on-duty
Yep.
officer there,
Okay,
and do it within a week.
okay, all right. Do you have a idea of the type of glass that you're going to be using? Is it going to be similar to what's there now, or is it going to be more transparent or less transparent or reflective or?
Well, I noticed that when you drive by, you can't see in the interior, and we're going to stay with the same material.
Okay, so it's somewhat privacy-oriented kind of glazing, but maybe on that first floor, we're going to be able to maybe have some streetscape where it's more transparent to see those live-to-work gallery spaces?
Yeah, some of it, we had a car accident there, a car went through the building, so half of it has to be replaced
Yep.
anyway.
Right.
So we're going to match it, so whatever we replace it with.
Okay,
What I've found is the units that we've sold over the years, everybody has come back to me and said, can we buy a workspace? Can we have,
Sure.
So they end up at Western Ave.
Yep.
But I've had so many potentials that want to be able to create their own little galleries and live where their galleries are. That's where the idea came from.
great, great.
All right.
Well, thank you. I think that it's a great way to use that space, and I think it can only help Prescott Street in that area for sure. So, look
We do
forward
want
to
to
it.
light the outside up too, so that at night it comes alive. And because it's very dark there now. So to bring that alive, and maybe put some lights on the roof too, but just light it up so people feel secure walking down. You're going to have 3 or 4 restaurants there with the Jazz Club.
Right, right.
So, to add another restaurant, that's where we made the decision to go with the workspace. Okay?
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Okay, Mr. Flood, so it looks like, so you were in here last February, if I have this correct, so almost a year has gone by, and so for this change, looks like the net increase is 2 units?
2 units.
22 to 24, correct?
Yep.
And so there'll be 4 3-story units, is that correct, instead of 5?
5.
There will be 5.
5, right.
Okay, I wrote down 5. Basement included, okay. And 7, 24, 17, yeah, okay. All right, and so the change that the petitioner is requesting for the 2 units, based on the size of the project and the review that we pretty much did a pretty good thorough review on the first petition back in February, where a lot of issues were addressed, and I appreciate Dennis's comments regarding some of the exterior changes anticipated. I did have another question. Of course, I got 9,000 pieces of paper here. Okay, so I think regarding the special permit, the petitioner has met the burden that's being asked of the board regarding the special permit for the amendment. I think I see 2 conditions that I'd like to review with you just to see if you're in agreement. This is back to the building permit. Submit revised plans, the building department showing the proposed elevator shaft. I think you,
We've done that.
so
We
that's
submitted those.
completed,
Should have
Judy?
those.
Yes.
We did that a long time ago, Bill, when after the first hearing.
So why is it in here again? Okay.
I think it
I
was
know you
prob-
mentioned something about the elevator shaft, but I wasn't,
Yeah, we submitted the plans. Rhonda did the plans on those. Yep.
well,
And I have no problem if you
Yeah.
can put the same conditions, that's not a problem whatsoever.
nope. In this case, more is less, right? But the historic board, do you still need to get final approval with the historic board?
We're not, well, we would on the windows. We would on the windows, right?
I've talked to Steve Stolz. It's not a historic building. It was built
Oh.
in the 60s.
So it's not an
We'd
historic,
like the hotel to be reproduced again there, but
yeah,
it's.
so it's not in a historic district, so it doesn't,
Well, there'll be nothing, no changes outside.
okay. So Judy, you agree, disagree, or do you want to fight it out with them? Because you got that look like, what?
With regard to the historic board?
Yeah, I just asked the question, do they need final approval from the historic board? And Mr. DeAngelis got up and said it doesn't fall within the zoning, historic zoning district to begin with.
It's
But
not
it's-
so much that, it's the glass. We'll talk with Steve in regards to the glass, but we're not changing the granite. And there's really no changes. It's pretty straightforward, the building. The other buildings in the back, absolutely. We've already talked with Steve in regards to the windows. I don't know if you've noticed windows being put in lately, so those have all been approved.
Yep.
The red brick building, that'd be approved, that's separate. But the front building, the structure, when I talked to Steve, I mentioned the lights, and he said, sure, let's talk about the lights, but as far as the building's concerned, the front doors that we'll add will be glass doors. So we will deal with them, but he mentioned no approvals, it's just communication.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, because, I mean, I know that Steve has, certain elements that strictly do not require approval, and certain elements do.
Okay.
So, and Steve certainly knows which is which.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure he's communicated that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm just reading what the city had dropped in here, and I was just curious if you, I know Mr. Flood mentioned, had worked with the historic board, but I didn't know if you needed to get any, I'll call it final approvals on anything, just so,
No, but we'll continue to work with them.
What's that?
We'll continue to work with Steve Stoll.
Yeah, oh, no.
Even the lights, I mean, lights, I'll
Yep.
talk about everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, just want to make sure, so I don't have to read in the paper that the zoning board didn't do something that they were supposed to do. Okay. Does anybody on the board have any other comments or conditions that they'd like to bring up?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I think we should just have something mentioning the listing of the height of the facade as a condition, since that's missing on the application. The heights of the building aren't listed, height defining.
On the elevation?
On the elevation, right.
There's
We
not
need
a
that.
problem doing that.
Thank you.
So you're asking about the elevation, Dennis?
I know that one of the comments was that there's nothing on the elevation stating the height of the building or the height of the penthouse. And I think we just want to have those heights
For the record.
put on the drawing for the record, right?
I don't think we hit them last time either. It wasn't brought up.
I think especially talking about the penthouse as an occupied space now,
Yeah.
I think it's kind of something that we want to just have on the plan.
Not a problem.
Well, with no other comments for any other board members, it sounds
one
like
more-
we,
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, just one more thing. I think we should also keep the condition of the construction vehicles for the project and not to be allowed to park in the tunnel, the access
In that
tunnel.
tunnel, right.
Just to make sure that that's still abided by, which I'm sure, I know it is, so just want to make sure, so.
The condition, Bill, about parking in the tunnel.
no, I heard what he said, but I thought we had already captured that the first time, but
Sorry.
Mr. Flood doesn't have an issue with it. That's okay with me if he
problem.
wants to add it. All right. Going once, going twice. Anybody else? No. Okay, so could I have a motion to, could I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve ZB-2017-4, a petition type special permit, the applicant, the Sun Building LLC, the property located at 17 Kearney Square. The petition, the applicant is requesting an amendment to the original special permit granted to increase the number of units from 15 to 18. The project is located in the downtown mixed-use zoning district and requires special permit approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals under Section 12.1E of the Lowell zoning ordinance, with the following conditions. There'll be no parking in the access tunnel, and new plans for the height and elevation to be submitted.
Okay. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a
Sure.
question. So we're increasing the number of units from
22 to 24, correct?
22 to
Correct.
24? Okay.
Is that all you got, Judy? You all set?
Yes, 22, 24. Okay, just want to be sure on that.
Yep.
Chairman Bailey?
Approved with conditions.
Member McCarthy?
Approve with conditions.
Member Paglia?
Approved with conditions.
Member Peck?
Approve of conditions?
Member Callahan?
Approve with conditions?
Member Peters?
Approved with conditions.
Okay, Attorney Flood and
Thank you very much.
Bush, you've been approved. Wish the best of luck.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our next order of business is other business. We have minutes that have been distributed from DPD for the September 26th, October 24th, November 15th, and November 28th, 2016 meetings. Any comments by any of the board members?
October 14th or October 24th?
Oh, geez, I went through this with Judy today. Judy says it's the 24th, excuse me,
Oh.
the 14th.
I
thought it was
have
the
October
24th.
24th.
You do? Okay.
Wow, looks like the board is in opposition, Judy, to your date. Yeah, we did have the discussion today. I had October 24th, but,
Okay, so that should be October.
October 24th, right?
October 24th.
Yeah.
Yes, instead of the 14th. Right.
Okay. Well, Judy, as if I told the other members, the chairman is always right. You know that, right? Yeah. Okay, could I have a motion to approve the minutes for the 4 dates, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the minutes for 9/26/16, 10/24/16, 11/15/16, and 11/28/16.
Okay, we have a second?
Second?
We have a motion?
Chairman Bailey,
Approved.
Member McCarthy,
Approve.
Member Paglia,
Approved.
Member Peck,
Approve.
Member Callahan,
Approved.
Member Peters.
Approved.
All right, our next meeting is January 23rd. And so Judy, I know I read in the paper about the new website, you know, all the great things that are going on with the new website, but how about our section with the plans, and when's that going to be turned on?
Christina's been working hard on that. We've had a few glitches with the website.
Okay, so we may receive for the 23rd emails again, is that?
Yes, yes.
So I guess,
Yeah, so we will always be, if the website is not fully operational, we will make sure that the boards get all the materials with regard to the applications through email.
so I guess I'll ask, because I am what I am. Can we get them, if you have some now, if we can get them now, just so, you know what I'm saying? Instead of like the weekend before the meeting.
Sure,
Not
absolutely.
that you would do that, but,
Absolutely.
yeah, I was just curious how the website,
Yep.
as far as that section is going.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from any other board members? Yep. Yeah, welcome Patrick on board, and wish him the best of luck. I'm sure you have 2 great teachers to work with, yeah?
That I do.
Yeah. And
Welcome to the
also-
team.
Huh? What's that?
Welcome to the team.
Yeah. And talked to Mr. Perrin today. Mr. Perrin is coming along, so hopefully we'll see Mr. Perrin in the future. And that's pretty much it. So could I have a motion to adjourn?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So moved.